A cultural anchor conditions us to think that and feel that maths and science are a male domain. So we rarely venture into these fields, even though there is actually no evidence to suggest that men are better. It is a belief. We use cultural anchors in life all the time. The belief system we have, we are groomed to believe that right from childhood that there are certain jobs that men can do and certain jobs that women can do, and we are taught from childhood this is what it is. We are taught that we are supposed to fit into these nice little boxes. Do you know, we don't need to. These are just thoughts and beliefs, they're not actual fact. So, it's time to kind of shift our focus, shift our energy, and focus on us and focus on our beliefs and change the system, change the way you believe. Okay? You put limitations on yourself, and society has done this as well. Put limitations on you, it stops you from growing, it keeps you in your box. So, I'm daring you now to work on yourself. Stop limiting yourself, stop thinking you are not good enough, stop believing you are not worthy. Okay? Self-limitations preventing you from reaching your goals and true potential. Stop missing out. Think of something that you really want to do, that thing that you lay in bed at night and you think, I really want to do this, I've really wanted to do this. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a vet, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to do this, that and the other. What stopped you? I can tell you what stopped you. This is your belief, your limitations, your fear, your potential to growth is stalled, okay? I want to ask yourself, is it part of you and your structure to identify yourself, okay? You're identifying your structure, identifying your identity of yourself is a woman, is someone who is doing a certain role in life, and you may not even be happy with this role, yet you stay with this role because you've absorbed that identity, you've taken on board that form, that process of what it is. It may not be actually who you are, it's what you have identified yourself, and this is the reason, and I promise you do it because you don't believe it is, you don't make the changes because you don't believe that they are part of you. You just keep them as dreams, you keep them as things to think about when you're feeling low, or that kind of thing. They are part of you, they are part of your your ID. So absorb your dreams, absorb what you want, and make it part of you, part of your ID. You don't need to be that person who is doing something they don't want to do just because you feel this is you, okay? It's like, if you want power, it's now time to change your life. You need to change your focus. Bring that thing that you desire into your heart. Make it part of you. Believe you can, and you are doing it. Okay? So you need to believe that you're actually doing the role that you set out to do, that the role that you wanted to do when you was a kid, or the role that you can see yourself doing now, but you just don't quite believe it because it is only a dream. And dreams, we think, are not real. We don't base them in any structure, we don't base them in reality, so they don't become real. They stay as dreams, they stay as unobtainable, you cannot touch them. Bring them into your heart, make you believe that you are that dream. That dream is your identity that you can make happen. As soon as you start changing your identity, and as soon as you start believing in the very core and the very foundation of yourself, you will start bringing changes into your life that are really, really good for you, okay? You will start making these changes happen. Unfortunately, no one else can't do that for you. I cannot give you a magic wand and say, make this person into the rocket scientist she truly believes she is. I can't do that for you. I wish I could. I just can't. You need to stop making the negative thoughts your identity. Instead, know you are the person that you want to believe. For example, you believe that all you are is working in sales. That is your identity. You are someone who works in sales, and that sales is your identity. Change that. If you want to become, like I said, a rocket scientist, make that your identity. Make that your belief, okay? Make yourself believe that you are that rocket scientist, that you have the knowledge, the know-how to make this happen, that you have the determination to go through this. And being a rocket scientist is very much a male domain. You can change this. You don't have to have limitations. You don't need to sit within the confines of your little box. You can change this. You need to take on that identity, that core belief that this is your role in life. Okay, so believe in the facts of this, make these changes happen. However, it is the hardest thing to actually believe that you are something else, especially when you have been conditioned to think that you are just the shop assistants. Now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of shop assistants that enjoy their job and relish their job, and that's fantastic. That's your ID. But for me, it wasn't. For me, it was a role I hated playing. It was something that I didn't want to have. It wasn't who I was destined to be, and I knew it in my soul that this is not where I was going to be. But the ID, the role that I played, suggested that's what I was, and that was the appearance that I gave to the world, that I was just a shop assistant. Okay, so that was my identity. That was who I was. This is my story. Now, a few years ago, I was in a relationship, and he had his job, and my hours to fit around him was to work in retail. Now, anyone who ever was worked in retail knows what a suckish job it can be at times. It's a thankless job, and it's soul destroying. For me, it was. But I sucked it up because it was part of my relationship. It was part of us. And that was my identity at the time. That was us. That was my role. I took second place to him and his job. And when the relationship failed, when it ended, his words to me was, "You will always just be a shop assistant. That is all your role will ever be. You will never be anything more." And I took this on. I believed him, but it angered me. It started something inside me. It burned inside me. It really did. It burned. And I was like, but I'm worth more. I'm worth more than this. This is not what I aspire to be. This is not my goal. This is not my true calling. And my soul was screaming at me, but my ID was louder. My identity was saying, but this is you at no moment. This is where you're at. This is your identity. You are that shop girl. You are the girlfriend who's taken second place. You are the mother. Okay? And that's fine. That's fantastic. And that's great if that's what you want to be. But my soul was burning for more. And I needed more. And I swallowed it and I believed it. And I stayed in retail even when the relationship finished, because I believed that was what I was, that was who I was, and I believed it. So I stayed in my retail. It was a job I despised. It made me miserable. It even made me depressed. Yet I stayed as I believed it was my identity of being a shop assistant. This was me. This was my lot in life. This was the role I was playing. And he was right. I had taken on that identity. I had taken on that form, that belief. That was who I was. And he'd made me think that. As much as I'd made myself think that, I believed it. But his words kept coming back to me. This is all you will be. You will never be anything else. And those were the words that sparked that fire in my gut, that sparked it off, that wanted me to change. Now, it took me a further 3 to 4 months to kind of really activate my power, to activate that I am more than this. This is not where I want to be. There is more to my life than this. And it took me that to get over the relationship, to kind of realize that there was more to my life. Okay, so what I did was I handed in my notice, and fortunately I had enough holiday left. I used my holiday to work out my notice, so I didn't go back. And it was the scariest, best decision I'd ever made. I took a month off work, and I just adjusted myself. I just thought about a lot of things, changed my direction. What was it I really wanted to do? Where did I want to go? I changed my ID. I was changing myself from the core to the beginning of something new and exciting. And this is where I decided I wanted to work with people. I wanted to work with helping people. I wanted to work with minds. I find people interesting. I find people fascinating, how they tick, how they work, that kind of thing. And it intrigued me, and I wanted more. So I did a course. I'd done a university degree in psychology and criminology, because again, it's all about how people tick, and I wanted to do this, and I found this right. And I'd done coaching courses. I learned how to kind of bring people out of their shell, how to move people forward. I'd done this, and my ID changed because I made that change. I done this. I took control. I took that power back. I took my power back from him, and I decided this was not what I was going to be. I was not going to be the shop girl. This was not who I was. This was just a job I took to support our relationship, to support us financially. That role didn't exist anymore. I didn't need to be there anymore. I changed my course. I changed my foundation, and it was the most scariest thing. But it was something that made me grow, and I felt exhilarated, and I felt alive, and I felt like I was feeding my soul, that I was doing things for the right reasons, and that reason was for me. It wasn't for anybody else. This was purely for me, for what I wanted to create, for the identity that I wanted to create, that I wanted to put out, and I felt amazing. Now, doing a psychology degree, anyone who knows who's done psychology, is really, really tough. It's really hard, especially when I suffered from depression, especially when I had to bring up my child, and I still had to work as well. So I had to work around this, because obviously adult life, you can't just go to university, you have to work as well, because bills still need to be paid. So I was working, doing a degree, bringing my child up. It was difficult. And so, but I done it, and it was out of my comfort zone, and I done it, and I'm so grateful that I did it. Now, if I can do it, I know damn well that you can do it. I know damn well that you have the soul to do it. I know that you have the courage to do this. I know you have the strength to do this, and I want you to do this. I want the best for you. So I want you to be the best version you can be, the best version of yourself. You don't have to change anything. Just change your ID to what you want it to be. Not what society says, not what your cultural anchor says. It's what you want to be. You can fly to the moon if you put your heart to it. Women have done. You can do jobs or roles in life that you see fit to do. The limitations are you. Dare you change it? And I dare you to change yourself, to change your soul, to change your motivation. Change your ID. Change it to what you want. You can do this. I know you can. I believe so much in you. And I know for a fact if I can do it, the most scattiest person you'll ever meet, if I can do it, you can do it. Have focus, have drive, have determination. You know, I had the words of, this is all you'll ever be, and I turned them around and made them work for me. And I'm making them work for me now. They're still there. I'm not the shop girl, and I've never worked in retail since. I am more. I am someone who wants to give to people, someone who loves people enough to bring them forward, to be their best selves, to be the best version of you. And that's what I want for you. I hope this makes sense to you guys. Much love.